Hello and welcome. My name's Donald and I'm looking forward to taking you through this Recruit Complete overview. We're particularly excited that you are showing an interest in the Recruit Complete solution, and we hope that this will give you a bit of a sneak preview of just what we can deliver. So it's called Complete because we think it is the most complete solution, and maybe just to sort of present that, I'm going to take you through probably 15 minutes. I'm going to take you through sort of a process from end to end to show you what's capable for your recruitment business with Recruit Complete. So let's assume you've got your customer alliance health have rung up, and they're saying to us that they want a short-term cover for an enrolled nurse. So we'll just add our deal. It's a temporary job deal because it's for a contingent labour, and we'll call it a new vac centre. So sales, this is where we put them in the pipeline. You'll see a little bit of the pipeline shortly, but again, everything that I'm showing you is just an example because every single thing is configurable. So I've said we've got this deal, we know where it's going to sit in the pipeline, and we want a vac centre RN. The Customers Alliance, it's bought our contact Naomi. We know that they want it for the Oncology Award. We know that Naomi is going to be the supervisor. She'll also be approving the timesheets, and the invoice recipient, though, will be going to a different person in the business. The recruiter who's looking after this opportunity is Jane. We don't know purchase order numbers or invoice descriptions yet because we haven't won the deal. We're trying to win a deal, and they've asked us to provide a quote. So we know we want to provide a quote for an enrolled nurse, and it's a casual enrolled nurse. We also know that we just want one of them, but it could be any number, and that the enrolled nurse must have a certificate 1 in health support before they'll be qualified to do the job. It's simply we want them for 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 days. So this is the name of the schedule, and you can call it whatever you want. So we open it up. What's the shift name? We want them for morning, and that is 0700 to 15:30. I like to put the times in the shift name because it's easier to see later. But anyway, so we want them for this week. So 3 days, 22nd to the 28th, and we know that we want them on the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday. So we're coming here. Wednesday, 6 o'clock. It was 7 o'clock to 15:30. And we want them for Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So that's good, and we also want to repeat that schedule because we want them for 3 weeks. Remember, we said we want them for 3 weeks up here, so we repeat for 3 weeks. So now we know the qualifications required, the position we want. We also know when we want them to work. So then we have to specify some things about the award that we're going to process this job or this quote deal against. The nurse for enrolled nurse belongs to the nursing award, so we populate that. We're going to pay them on a weekly basis. They're in the Brisbane Public Holiday Group, and we're going to invoice them on a weekly basis. Now you might ask, why are we doing all of this when we're just doing the quote? Well, because really we're trying to do everything up front, and you'll see that a little bit later. So here, I'm saying we're going to charge them $23.12, but pay them $23.12 because that's come from the award, and we're going to charge $35. But we also want to make sure that we're covering our on costs. So we cater for our on costs in here as well. Now they can be user definable, they can be derived by the customer, they can come from any number of different levels. So now what I've done now is at this point in time now, I've got the schedule that we're trying to fill. We know the qualifications that contractor's got to have to fill that shift, and we know the rates that we're going to pay and charge, including our on costs. So we can now view directly the financial ramification or financial outcome of this quote. So we can see that we're going to make $1,663, 34% margin. That'd be pretty good if we could get that margin on all our jobs. Yes, we'll take that job. So, can't take the job yet. What we've done is we have now got our deal. So we now know everything that we need to know about the deal. So if we come back and have a look at that deal, we can send that directly to the customer. So let's do that now. So come to our customer, Alliance Health, and we can see that we've got our deals here, and we've got our new vac centre deal is in a qualified pipeline stage. Remember, when I added the deal, I said it was qualified. Now if I open that deal up, again I can see the various stages in the pipeline. I can also go and view my estimate. So what does the estimate look like? And therefore it's a mail merged document. Dear Naomi, this is the position and details, the certificates they've got to have, the dates requirement, and then the calculated amount. So that this is the quote, $6,518.76. You can create a follow-up activity in your CRM system to follow up the deal, or you can send the estimate directly to the customer. So that shows now orange because the customer has received the deal, the quote. They get that in an email with a link, and they can click on that link and they can accept the quote. And when they do accept the quote immediately then becomes a job. Now it's a contingent job that we're trying to fill. You can see that all of the information from the deal has come through. So we don't need to rekey anything. They've given us an order number now, and now we can put our description on here. You know, new Vax Centre enrolledness. Okay, so we'll go next. We know this, we created this from the deal, so we don't need to do this again, but we can check it. We had the schedule which we created with the quote, so we don't need to change anything there either. Likewise our properties and our rates and everything. So we can now just say all we've got to do now is fill the job with the right candidates, with the right skills according to what we had specified on the quote, and now the job. So we can see our schedule here. So we can come in here and we can find anybody that has worked for us previously who has got the skills required of the job and who is available to work. You've got some nice dropouts where you can view some detail about the candidates. You can move next and previous, so you can see all of that. You can also allocate them directly to the roster by grabbing James, dragging him in to the schedule. James now, I can accept him, which means he's straight away in the schedule, or I can send invitations. I can send 1, 3, 5, 10 invitations. They all get the invitations to their mobile phone. When they accept the invitation, the first person who accepts it gets the job. So let's say James accepts the position. Already we have calculated, because we did it with the deal, we actually know what James is going to get paid for working on that day, and we know what he's going to get paid for working that pay week. Why? Because we calculated all of that as soon as we did the deal. Now typically then we've got timesheets. Now what we'll do is we'll generate some pro forma timesheets here. So we'll generate our timesheets for that 3-week period. Now those timesheets are created here. Normally your candidate will then come to their portal, probably through their mobile phone, and they would then submit their timesheets for approval. So that works exactly the same on the mobile phone. They pick the day and they go submit. Now they could normally bulk select, but the trouble is they can't do that in this example because we've got timesheet claims. I'm going to show you that now. When I open this timesheet and I submit this timesheet, I can make changes. You know, maybe I didn't finish, maybe I finished at 17:30 that day, submit the timesheet for approval. But then we can also ask user-definable questions on a timesheet. We can ask any number of questions which can then be used to calculate performance, get feedback, upload documents, anything that we want to attach to a timesheet. They are configurable. No restrictions whatsoever. Even this one here, you know, if they go yes to timesheets, we can ask them to enter their kilometres, and we would then automatically pay the kilometre allowance based on the award terms and conditions. So we carry on and we'll just submit this last timesheet, and this one will say that they finished at 1600. So the candidate in this example is modifying their timesheets. So our timesheets are all submitted. Here I'm looking at the timesheets for a given job, but typically as your recruiter you'll be managing your timesheets and your schedule in your main schedule view. Here I can see all the people that I've got scheduled out to various customers, and we can see James sitting here down here in the oncology award working on these 3 days. Quite useful because even now you can already see what you're going to invoice the client for this pay, for this day and for this pay week, all available from within the schedule view. Likewise your timesheets, you can view your timesheets in here. So here we've got James Brown and we can see his timesheet sitting for approval. And we can also see he's got assessments on the timesheet because we've got this one's green approved, these are yet to be approved. So as the approver, Now, typically we would expect that this is your customer. They have logged in. They have rights to log in. You give them rights. Then the customer themselves are approving the timesheets. So they will open this up and they will approve timesheets. This is just one way. There are many ways, but just for this example, they can see the day, they can see the responses to the questions. Approve the timesheet. Approve the timesheet. Approve the timesheet. Now, as soon as those timesheets have been approved, as they have now, we are all ready to generate the invoicing. Let's go and have a look at that now. So we'll pop across to our finance page. We can see in here that we're looking at the different different invoice frequency. So we can see Alliance Health down here, New Vac Centre. These are other invoices which have yet to be generated. We can open that. We can see the detail lines for the invoice. We can now come here and we can generate our invoice. So you notice that really we created the deal, and as soon as the deal was won, all we needed to do was attach the candidates that we wanted for it, and everything else was done because we captured everything at the invoice at the deal stage. And this is the beautiful thing about Recruit Complete. You enter the data once, you do not need to enter it again. It retains it for the entire process. So here we've got this invoice generated. We can preview the invoice and we can see the different amounts that we're charging. Naomi was the client contact. This was the description that we put on. There's the detail of the timesheet. And likewise, they can also view the timesheet as well as the invoice. Now, this is automatically sent to the customer. The person we said was the invoice recipient on the job. They get this automatically as soon as it is approved. Note that currently it's submitted. Again, that's configurable, the processes that you want to go through. Payroll is exactly the same way. Just as I have finished my invoicing, I can now also have a look at my payroll. And there we can see James's Brown payroll is ready to be processed for that week. So there it is. We did a quote. Within 10 minutes we've done a quote. We've communicated that quote to the customer. The customer's approved it. We've then gone, that's automatically converted it to a job. We've then found the right person who's available with the skills. We've allocated them to roster. We've generated the timesheets. We've modified those timesheets for actually what really did happen. They've then been submitted by the candidate, approved by the customer, and your invoicing and your payroll is complete. And but that's supported though now by a number of other really cool features within Recruit Complete. For example, really rich candidate management. We handle candidate management through the concept of workflows and pipelines. We call them pipelines. Just as we had sales pipelines, we have recruitment pipelines. See an example here. I've got a pipeline that takes through a generic onboarding option and it takes them through entry. They register. We may do a right to work check, may not. We triage them, we reference check them, we induct them. And this is all paperless and all configurable. And you can view it in a really nice graphical model. And the graphical model allows you to drag and drop your candidates into the various stages. And as I said before, each stage has automations attached to it which you yourself can set for a paperless automated process. So, if I'm looking at somebody in triage interview and they went really well, I can just drop them straight into reference check, and then this candidate will now be ready for a reference check. Reference checks can be sent automatically to the referees, or you can then operate them as an assisted reference check as you see fit. So here you can see here that we've now got a reference check, and we can open that reference check and we can see that these are different questions that we might ask them as a result of the reference check. Again, completely configurable. So now in terms of the candidate, so we've got our pipelines that we can take them through. We've also got lots of capabilities around candidates. Candidates can come to your jobs board and they can log on. They can apply for jobs. And as soon as they apply for a job, if they don't have an account for you, we will create an account for you and they will follow an automated process according to the pipeline for that particular vacancy. You can also manage your candidates. You come in here and we've got our candidate grids. Candidate grids are all configurable. Likewise, you can create different views for your candidates. So you might have, in other words, here I can have a look at candidates in different views. I can create them as I see fit. So for the moment though, let's say we want to add a candidate. So we can add candidates. We can add them manually. We can parse their CVs. So let's parse a CV. Find a CV that I can parse. So it's a Word document I've just grabbed out of my file and I'm parsing the CV, and it is now it's successful, it's done. I then ask, do I want to onboard my candidate? I go, yes. Which one do I want to take them into? I want them to go into my generic onboarding. So I've now directly taken this candidate. This is their file, so we've updated. This is all brought through from my parsing. I've brought that candidate through. They now are a registered account on your system. And then when I look at my pipeline, if I have a look at my pipeline now, I can see that our Bruce is sitting in our entry stage of the pipeline. So we've attached them, and then our automations will check to see, based on a CV, what we should do with that CV. And so typically that'll be processed, automatically pasted into the registration phase. And as soon as he's located in the registration phase, we have completed for him the next stage in the pipeline, and we have associated with him a registration for them to complete. And we can pop down here and we can look at Bruce Wayne. We can see that there's his candidate application form to complete, and we're going to ask him a number of questions. Are you an Australian citizen? Have you had any prior work injuries, passport, and so forth? And when they complete this application form, it updates their personal record and they are ready to be employed. They have tasks, they have schedules, they can view assessments, documents. This is the individual candidate's portal. So essentially, we can automate the entire process. Candidates can apply, as I said, through your jobs board. You can publish jobs to your jobs board. Candidates can apply. They can send you CVs. You can upload those CVs. You can then insert them directly into pipelines and take them through the automated process. Recruit Complete is complete. And maybe to just sort of demonstrate that a little bit more, let's have a look at some of the modules that you can decide if you want to really take on a fully automated solution. So everything you could think of: 360-degree appraisal, contact management, conversations. It's a chat engine directly inside your Recruit Complete, customer portal, CV parsing, document management. Maybe you want to use time and attendance and you have facial recognition for clocking in, so you can provide time and attendance to your customers. Payroll, financing, integration with Google Hangouts, Google Meets, health and safety, induction, learning, multi-factor authentication, so in other words, an improvement on digital signatures, integration with Office 365, psychometric testing, organisational structure, recruitment, well I suppose you would expect to see that, sales, schedule, succession planning, surveys, time and attendance, which I talked about before. If you wanted to use it with facial recognition, you can. Immigration checks, integration to Xero, Zoom meetings. It really is the most complete solution, and I really look forward to you having a crack at this, because I absolutely promise you it will transform your recruitment business. Thank you very much.